On the latest political development in Kano, back home, some protesters on Monday took to the streets in defiance to the ban on demonstrations by the police. The State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Hussein Gumel, had banned protests after members of the ruling New Nigerian People's Party and the opposition All Progressive Congress asked their members to pour on the streets over alleged bribery of the judiciary. According to the Commissioner, any attempt to disrespect the ban will be treated as an offense against national security. However, shortly after the order, protesters led by President Kano Civil Society Forum Ibrahim Waya took to the streets and headed for the government house. We are now joined by our correspondent in Kano, Clement Oloyede, to give us more on the update. Clement, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was really hectic for all of you in Kano. Can you give us a rundown of what really happened from morning to evening?
I think you really summarized the situation in Kano. It was a very hectic day. We woke up and as early as 7:30, when some people were still in bed, we had the information that some of the big wigs of the NNPP, the New Nigerian People's Party, and the main opposition party, All Progressive Congress, have already made their way to the Kano State High Court, where the Governorship Election Tribunal was sitting. And while we were on our way there, we noticed that the police, from around 8:30 to 9, they've already barricaded all the access to the place. And I spoke with the police command, and I was told that there was going to be a press conference at 10, but we were later able to make our way into the court. And we were able to confirm that not just the APC leadership, but the NNPP leaders, including key officials of the Kano State government, including the Secretary of the State government, the Chief of Staff to the governor, and some of the commissioners were already in court to attend the last, the ultimate hearing of the sitting of the tribunal. Because, actually what could be said to have led to the appearance of all these big wigs in court was as a result of what transpired last week. If you could recall very well, news came out from one of the panels of the tribunal hearing the National and State Assembly matter, wherein one of the chairperson of the panel, Justice Alozie, made some damning allegations that some members of the bar, that is lawyers, were reaching out to members of the panel to more or less compromise them, give them bribes to compromise the justice system. So when some of these big wigs attended the court proceeding today, it could be it's understandable that they were trying to show solidarity and to show that they were not the ones behind the bribery allegations.
Yeah.
But by 10 o'clock, like I said earlier, the Commissioner of Police announced that all bans, all protests, and all whatever forms of protest have been banned in Kano for today. Before that, there was a statement released by the APC that they had information that supporters of the NNPP plan to protest, and if that was to be allowed to happen, they will also mobilize their supporters to protest.
Yes.
So after that information got to the police, I believe they acted on the intelligence that were available to them, and they banned all procession, all protests. However, a few minutes later, while we were still in court, some of our reporters were on the field. We had that protesters under the aegis of the Kano Civil Society Situation Room, led by Ibrahim Waya, the convener of that Situation Room, mobilized at Kofa Nasarawa and started procession along the street in outright defiance to the order of the police.
Yes, this man, he belongs to which camp, Clement? This man that led the Kano Situation Room, he belongs to which camp? Is he an APC member or NNPP member?
I think it will not be fair to him to rope him into any of the political party. He's a civil society.
But what does he want? What does he want?
Organization leader. However, because of the protest today, some people could read some meanings to it, but as far as we are concerned, he's just a leader of a civil society organization, and he led members of his organization as well as other people to lead this protest to the government house. And it was not only CSO people. We could also see some members of the NNPP that were also involved in this protest. And they went. Some of them are known faces. Some of them are officials of the party. They went all the way to the government house, and when they got to the government house, they were received by the Kano State governor. And summarily, yes.
Yeah, was there any altercation between the two warring political members?
Oh, thank you. I think the reason why there was no altercation was that the APC, immediately after the tribunal, the publicity secretary briefed journalists outside the tribunal that, okay, they had what the police commissioner said, and because of that, they've cancelled their planned protest, so they were not coming out. So because of that, there was no counter protest.
Okay.
It was just a protest by one party, so there was no conflict whatsoever. But we learned that when they got to the government house entrance, at a point the gate was open to them, and I'm referring to the protesters now under the aegis of the Kano State Civil Society Situation Room. They were allowed to enter into the government house. Before then, the leader, the convener of the Civil Society Situation Room, that's in the person of Ibrahim Weah, spoke. And he said summarily, what he said was that the reason why they were protesting was because of the allegation that came out of the tribunal that some people were trying to bribe judges, bribe the judiciary to compromise the justice system, and that being Kano citizens, they felt that this should not be allowed to happen. So they were writing a letter, and they sent the letter. They were taking the letter to the Kano State governor to deliver it onward to the president for action. So that was where they took the protest to the government house, and thereafter, the Kano State governor, in company of some of his top aides, including the SSG, including the chief of staff, received them. And the governor spoke and said he promised them that he was going to make sure that he personally delivered the letter to the president to ensure that justice is delivered.
Okay. Finally, the judges of the tribunals, you know, how free are they? I mean, in terms of even having the confidence to continue with what they are doing. Do you think they are okay, or they have some fears?
Well, it's difficult to really ascertain what they feel deep inside them. But what we observed today was that there was tight security around the court premises. In fact, all access to the court premises were barricaded by the police. It took us a few minutes before we could even get access to the court. And with that, before the real proceedings started, there were some, normally there would be some exchanges, pleasantries between the bench and the bar. And I could see some camaraderie between the lawyers and the judges on the panel, showing that they are in support of justice. And we could say from the concluding speech, so to say, of the chairman of the panel, Justice Osadebe, she promised that they will, as much as possible, ensure that they are fair to all. They will read all the materials, all the documents that have been presented to them, and they will ensure that they are fair to all.
All right.
I need to add this, that the allegation that were made last year, that was made last week, was not from this same panel of judges. These judges that sat today are basically sitting on the governorship election petition tribunal. But the allegation came from one of the panels. There are several panels, I think about 4 or 5 panels, sitting on the National and State House of Assembly election. So one of the panels, chaired by Justice Alozie, was where the allegation came from. But I believe all the parties were agitated, worried that this would rub on all the panels, including the governorship election, which is fully contested. But overall, we can say that the judges are calm. They still maintain the cordial relationship with all the parties at the tribunal today. And they promise that they will ensure that justice is served based on the documents that are tendered before them. And the reserved ruling, actually, which means that a date has not been fixed, but they will communicate a date. They promise that while the law provides for 180 days for the hearing and determination of all the petition. They still have some few, I think they have some more days, and they promise that before the 180 days elapse, they are going to communicate the new dates for the judgment.
President Bola Tinubu met with some critical stakeholders on the ECOWAS intervention in the crisis in Niger Republic. The delegation, headed by Nigerian former head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar, was at the presidential villa to brief the president on the latest demand of the Niger junta. President Tinubu is chairman of the Authority of the Heads of States and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Niger's coup leader had proposed a 3-year transition of power after meeting a delegation of West African leaders and warned that any attack on the country will not be a walk in the park for those involved. Speaking to State House reporters, General Abdulsalami said the meeting with President Tinubu formed part of efforts to see a way of settling the political crisis after the military overthrew the democratically elected president in Niger. Have a look at it.
As you are aware, the ECOWAS heads of state have made me an envoy to Niger Republic, and over the weekend we were there to see the military people and discuss to find the way out of the lacuna we find ourselves. So that's why I'm here this afternoon, together with the president of the ECOWAS Commission, to give a report back to Mr. President on our discussion in Niger. I must say that our visit to Niger has been very fruitful in that it has opened an avenue to start talking, and hopefully we will get somewhere. Well, like I said, we started talking. We made their own points, and then I made my report to the chairman of the ECOWAS heads of state and president. He will now consult with his colleagues, and then the ding-dong starts, and we'll get somewhere, hopefully. Hopefully, diplomacy will see the better of this thing. Nobody wants to go to war. It doesn't pay anybody, but then again, you know, our leaders have said, if all fails, and I don't think all will fail, we'll get somewhere. We'll get out of this mess.
Also, the African Union declared that Niger Republic will be excluded from its activities until State President Mohamed Bazoum is reinstated. Bazoum was removed from power in a military takeover on July 26 and has been held in custody since then. The AU made this announcement through a statement released on Tuesday and reiterated its demand for the military junta to release Bazoum and return to their military barracks. Furthermore, the AU urged its member nations and the global community to avoid taking actions that may give credibility to the junta and strongly disapproves of any interference from external actors or countries beyond the African continent. Recall that ECOWAS had announced readiness to deploy standby force to Niger as last resort when all diplomatic moves fail. And elsewhere, former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diazani Alison Madueke, has been charged with bribery by British police. The suspect accepted bribes in exchange for awarding lucrative oil and gas contracts during her time in office as Minister of Petroleum during former President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. She also served as the president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, during that time. The charges mark a significant step in a complex international investigation, according to Andy Kelly, head of the National Crime Agency's International Corruption Unit. British authorities allege that Alison Madueke misused her power in Nigeria and gained financial rewards from awarding multi-million-pound contracts. The National Crime Agency, NCA, disclosed that the accusations involved over £100 million in cash, chauffeur-driven cars, private jet flights, luxury vacations for her family, and use of multiple London properties. Additionally, the charges detail rewards like furniture, property renovation, staff for her residencies, payment of private school fees, and gifts from high-end designer shops, among others. The former minister is scheduled to appear in Westminster Magistrates Court on October 2 this year. She has faced allegations of corruption since leaving office, although she denies the charges and even filed a lawsuit against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, where she claims that EFCC's accusations were false and malicious, seeking 100 million naira in damages and a public apology for alleged reputational damage. Viewers, this is Daily Politics, and I'm your host, Hamza Idris. As you know, President Tinubu inaugurated his cabinet on Monday, August 20, and since then, Nigerians have been reeling out expectations and agendas based on the state of the nation. Therefore, tonight on the program, we'll be looking at some of the expectations and also projections into the foreseeable future with regards to how the cabinet can achieve the renewed hope agenda of the president. And joining me to do this, I have in the studio Baba Yusuf, a strategist and policy analyst and the CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company. We have joining us virtually Dr. Murtala Adogi Mohammed. He is also a policy analyst and the founder, System Strategy and Policy Lab. He joins us from Kano. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Dr. Mohammed, are you with us?
Thank you.
All right, welcome. How is the weather in Kano?
Thank you for having us.
Yes, welcome, Mohammed.
And good evening, Nigerian.
All right, fine.
Fine. I think it's about to end with high humidity, so we are struggling to manage with the weather.
All right,
so
good.
far.
Welcome to Daily Politics. Baba, I think we should start with our guest. He's first appearing on this program. Yes. Dr. Murtala, we've seen your package. I mean, your expectations from President Tinubu's ministers. You say 5 low-hanging fruits. Can you mention them, please?
Yeah, basically when Mr. President announced the 48 ministers, before subsequently they dropped 3 to the number of 45. I come up with 5 low-hanging fruits, and I strongly recommend them to the first one to be being able to identify a strong, head-headed technical team to work with. Okay. As a Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for you to deliver reform and results, you need to basically have a technical team to work with. So the first in the 5 low-hanging fruit is the technical team to work with. The second one is being familiar with the strategic document that we have in Nigeria. We have what we call the African Agenda 2063.
Okay. And
also we have what we call the Nigerian Agenda 2050. And we have the Nigerian Agenda 2021-2025. And so every minister is expected to develop its own strategic plan from this overall national plan. So it's very important to ensure that as a minister, you develop this strategic plan. Then number 3 is the governance result delivery unit. There is no way you can be able to track and monitor your performance and measure your result if you don't have the governance result unit. That is the number 3. Then the number 4 is the ability for the minister to understand the civil service system, because it's not going to work in isolation. It's going to work with civil servant. So you need to seriously understand the civil servant and have a better picture of how they work, on how you should be able to relate with them. And lastly, its ability to communicate the result and reform. If you are working, governance is a serious business that cannot just be left in the hands of government people alone. You need to develop a communication strategy as a minister. Whatever you achieve, you should be able to share with the world. Let Nigerians and other parts of the world understand what you are doing and how you are delivering results.
All right.
So
Thank you
in
very
summary,
much.
this is the 5 low-hanging fruits that I
All right.
emphasized on.
Excellent.
And I think it's very important. We should ensure that almost all the ministers have these low-hanging fruits.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Dr. Adogi from Kano. We'll come back to you because I have seen Baba Yusuf also smiling, most likely in agreement with some of the points or all of the points you raised. Baba, you have had Dr. Adogi, who joins us from Kano. He said low-hanging fruits. He listed 5. Assembling an egg-headed technical team, working with strategic documents, results delivery unit, communicate results, and then managing civil servants. I found this 5th one, managing civil servants, very germane. And I want you to comment on that. Okay. But before then, do you agree with all these things he mentioned? 5 low-hanging fruits, or you have addition to them?
Yeah, very good perspective by Doctor. But I think the low-hanging fruits now would be from the point of view of the enablement of the ministers to perform.
Okay.
I think the low-hanging fruits in this
So
case,
we'll add it as the 6th one.
that will not be from, no, those he mentioned are okay, but low-hanging fruits to enable the ministers to hit the ground running and be performance-driven or result-oriented. Now, the low-hanging fruits also to be looked at will be the outcomes of all this he mentioned, harnessed by the ministers to deliver what? Good governance, to deliver what? The mandate given by Mr. President. And then depending on the ministry now, the outcomes will be reflected based on the ministry. All the ministries will have different outcomes.
Welcome back. Yes, Paul, before we go to your report, of course, we brought you to the studio because of it. You have seen our tidbits. The first one is on the money that ministers will guzzle. Just salary over 8.6 billion. Is it worth it?
Well, I hope the government also is not trying to contradict itself. In one breath, it had been clamoring for a leaner government and to reduce the cost of governance, and in the other breath, it's now the government that has the over-bloated, if you like, Federal Executive Council. In the last regime of President Buhari, it was 42. Before then, during Jonathan, we had 33. So this has been the biggest.
In fact, when we were putting the story, even at the last hour yesterday, we had to check and check and check.
No, this is the biggest.
Yeah, Jonathan had 33.
33,
we have it on the screen. Tinubu 48. He has dwarfed even Obasanjo.
Yeah, so that's just at variance to most of the commitment that we have seen the past administration, and even the Tinubu administration have done. None of them had made that bold, have taken that boldness or that initiative to implement the Arosanye report that had recommended for a leaner, slimmer government. And then, of course, if you think about how the economy is in dire strait, and also the need for us to begin to cut our coat according to our clothes, then I mean, I think the government didn't get it right this time around. Don't forget that all of these ministers that are appointed, we got about 13 of them that are ministers for state, and then the rest are the
cabinet,
cabinet, of course, and then
cabinet status, I mean senior ministers.
Senior ministers. Think about how they are even going to manage themselves and the friction that may come from some of these.
That is it. I asked this question whether there is relapse in the process of putting some of these things together. You have 2 governors who were chief executives of their states.
Exactly. I was waiting to see what the terms of reference will be for these appointed ministers, because sincerely, if there is no clear-cut definition of what their roles could be, I see them really going to be...
Because all of them are people in their all right. And
Yeah.
remember, maybe I think the threat issued by Keyamo, that was how he managed to
I was
get
actually going
senior
to,
position.
beside even the threat, one of the statements attributed to him during the validatory session after the expiration of their tenure with President Buhari, he alluded to the fact that he doesn't think this is even constitutional to be having ministers of state. All the Constitution recognizes that we should have representation from every state. And for me, sincerely, I thought even having 37 could have even have, for me, it would be fair, but may even be beyond what Nigerians expected.
Yeah.
We can't continue to, we have over 1,400 ministries and departments and parastatals. And then think about, even for the ministers that are appointed, if you begin to think that all of these are coming with their aides, I saw the list of the other, the list of
Parts.
other...
yeah, the furniture they are going
Furnitures.
to... And Estacot, you know, they are pensioned for traveling.
So think about all of this. Who bears this cost? Taxpayers.
You and
money.
me.
Of course,
because you pay
Nigerians-
tax, I pay tax, yeah.
Of course, Nigerians would definitely bear this cost. So I think it is high time. I know the appointment is not complete. The president had wanted to appoint 48. At the moment,
And actually, we did our estimation based on that number, 48, because already he has submitted names. If not for the glitch, you know, he will have sworn in 48. But what can we do now as Nigerians? Because, of course, he has promised to, you know, revamp the economy by saying that quite a number of agencies will be brought together. You know, one of his aides alluded to Federal Inland Revenue Service, Customs, and NIMASA to take them to one place. But they are now expanding the frontiers. Even the ministries, you can see, we have additions now. We brought a guest, I think, yesterday or the day before. He was saying, unless, it was yesterday, unless something is done, there will be overlapping responsibilities.
No, definitely
I cited
there
an
will
example of two ministries that all have innovations in the nomenclature of the...
you have two ministers that are ministers of steel, for instance. You got also now here...
Okay, you are talking about the solid minerals and then the Minister of
Minister of Steel. And then you got also, these are ministers that used to be together.
Yes.
Right? So that's why I said there has to be clear-cut responsibility. It has to be clearly stated what each ministry will be doing. You got the youth and sport that also used to be...
You now have sports.
And now you have sports, you have youths. So there also have to be a change of nomenclatures and all of that. I know how
creation of space.
Space, office space.
You know, there was drama. We reported it on the day they assumed office, I think at the Ministry of Transport. You know, Oyetola was there, and the other Minister of Transport, he was also there. Okay. So it was a bit, even the parking lot for the ministers, you know, it became an issue. Because all of them, senior ministers, this one transport, this one...
Marine and blue economy.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw one of the press conferences by... in one of the ministries, and how the space was so congested. The ministers, the two ministers, Minister of State and the Minister Senior, were all...
So I find it very difficult to say whether is it Minister of Federal, then this one Minister of State, or is it junior and senior, then what parameters they use.
They are all professionals.
You can see a certain minister who was actually a senator, right? Now, junior minister.
I begin
then
to ask the
someone
question, actually,
who
like,
is his senior, I think, you know, did not, I think, to greater extent attain his pedigree in terms
like
of...
what was the rationale? And even for them, like, what was the motivation? I thought that will have a more, they will have more immune protection as senators, and they are even, security of office perhaps as senators or as ministers, because anything could happen tomorrow, we don't know, and then the president could even decide to tell
But
them.
as a senator, you are guaranteed 4 years.
You are guaranteed 4 years as a senator.
You can only be suspended.
I have just tried to imagine what was the rationale, what was even the motivation for them to, is the motivation about them having control to more resources, or maybe the power that comes with some, because already we have seen some of them, even before stepping into the office, are beginning to warn us and rain fire and brimstone on people about...
Referring to maybe number one citizen now.
Number one,
FCT number one citizen.
Yes, FCT number one, telling us that he's going to take
our
over
landlord,
people's land if they are not able to build in 2 years and all of that, giving marching orders and all of those things. So I think...
So what can they do, Paul,
well,
to actually swallow some of their wishes, you know, because I think they all have a lot maybe to listen, so that they can reserve some of these resources for the wider population.
I tweeted about this yesterday. For most of them, I think they shouldn't put the cart before the horse. Like, they needed to even go and understand the issues. Some of them are over-promising and without even understanding what challenges are ahead of them as even ministers. I think first there need to be that understanding and then set realistic timelines as to when to attain some of the milestones that they want to achieve. As Nigerians, I think that is all that we expect from them. We need to begin to learn how to manage expectations. We don't expect that everything will change overnight. So as we move along with them, what are the issues? What are the pressing issues in Nigeria? What I see actually happening at the moment is like everybody wants to compete with the other. Everybody wants to be the best.
And the president wants to satisfy every other person.
Yeah,
because some said that some of these appointments were based on political expediency.
Of course.
You know, that, okay, I have to pay back the favors I got from these people, that they will continue to give me that favor. But is there a contradiction between what is happening and the purported implementation of the Obasanjo report?
Well, of course, a huge contradiction between that, because even on the part of the president, as far as I'm concerned, he had failed in one of his promises to reduce the cost of governance, unless there is something he knows as a president that we don't know. Maybe in the next 2-3 months, we are going to see boom that Nigerians don't expect, but within the available resources that we think we have at the moment, we should see the boom first before you think about the expansion.
Welcome back. As I said earlier, we have Dr. Sam Amole in the studio. He's the gubernatorial candidate of Young Progressive Party, YPP, in Kogi State. Yeah, welcome once again.
Thank you.
As I speak with you now,
yes,
Yahya Bello is at the APC Secretariat in Abuja because he wasn't comfortable with the choice of, replacement of two key positions, Publicity Secretary and the other one in Kogi State, and he wants it reversed. Yes, he is rounding up. Why do you think he is all out to see that his landmarks, remain virtually everywhere?
Well, I think that the question he should be answering himself, because having done your term, you should let other people to come in. So I won't know what is in his mind that he wants to plant his stooges all over the place. Okay. There's no need for that. You've done your bit, let other people come in and build on your legacy. See, this is the problem Africa has all over the place. And there's no need for it. A tenor is a tenor. No matter who you put there, it cannot be you.
Yeah.
It's different. So let him finish in 2 months, 3 months' time, let him give way and let new people come in. I think that's my own...
Doctor, you have traveled widely.
Yeah.
You've seen it. You've seen how politics is being played all over the world.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
No, not the way it is in Nigeria. No, definitely. Politics in Nigeria, in Africa generally, is unfortunately a very selfish thing. Politics, definition of politics in Nigeria for me is I, me, myself.
Okay.
It's about the
self-serving.
Yeah, it's about the person. It's about the individual that is stronger than the country, stronger than the institution, stronger than the court, stronger than their party, the individual. Outside, politics is about service to the people, which is what, by the way, my party message is. It's about service to the people. Because people see politics in this part of the world as investment, trade, and even as occupation. No, politics is about service. You got experience from somewhere. You have seen a need for the people. You have seen where you can serve people then you put yourself in. Mostly people that are accomplished, people that don't need anything from the system.
Yeah.
But the reverse is the case.
Here, where people
are
go for
jobless.
loans.
Yeah, jobless, who have no experience, have never worked anywhere before, no experience, no legacy, touts. They just jump into politics as a way of rehabilitating themselves. And so you see African politics, Nigerian politics, with people who are not fit to be there in the first place.
Yeah, and is that why they borrow a lot of money? They collect money from friends, acquaintances, and even people they don't know with a pledge to compensate them.
Yeah. You see, that's it. Politics in Nigeria has been very monetized.
Oh, sad.
Monetized, and that's why the people that really want to come in cannot come in. It's as I came in that I just saw the ugliness. And I now say why qualified people with genuine interest to serve the people, they can't put themselves through this. I mean, I've seen it that it's like, why am I even here? But I'm here because I see the yearnings and the pain of my people.
And that's why
That's I'm
okay, you are facing 3 strong. You are also very strong. We know this.
Definitely.
You are facing 3 strong contenders also.
Yeah.
Ododo, who is actually there on behalf of Yahaya Bello.
Yes.
I mean, you have, some, are saying that he's there for Yahaya Bello. You have Dino Melai, PDP. You have Ajaka, SDP.
Yeah.
Why did you choose YPP in the first instance?
Yeah.
And how are you going to confront these contenders?
Easy, very easy.
All right.
The politics in Kogi State this time is not about the party.
Oh, what is it about then?
Personality.
Okay.
Capacity. Capability. Connection, international connection, and ability and skills to turn the vast potentials, natural, human resources that is in Kogi State into what people can benefit from.
You mentioned almost 5. You possess all of them?
Yeah.
Explain. Okay.
Before we go there, you asked me why am I...
Yes, YPP.
So the first question, the first answer is YPP, like I said, has a mantra of service to the people.
Oh, that's the attraction.
Yes, I mean, that's their motto. And they want, especially the people that have been marginalized, people that have been deprived from bringing out the skill that they have. My advantage over these 3 you mentioned.
Yeah.
Number 1, if you mention any of them, Dino, Ajaka,
Ododo,
ask them what is their work experience.
Okay.
They have not worked anywhere that I know.
Do you know a senator?
The senator does not work. It's politics. You graduated from school.
Ajaka, he was...
never worked anywhere.
Yeah.
We're talking of technocrats. We're talking of people that have worked with people that have managed anything. Politics is not where you learn leadership. It's not where you learn management. It's not where you learn relationship.
And Ajaka had served as Deputy National Publicity Secretary of APC, while Ododo, Commissioner in the state.
You don't get experience from those places.
Okay.
It's politics. Politics cannot prepare you for governance. It cannot prepare you for leadership. That's the problem we have always had. People jump into, especially Nigerian politics, that is not prepared. It doesn't equip you.
So what differentiates you from them?
What differentiates from these 3, and easily, what will be them? Number 1, okay, Dino represents PDP. PDP have ruled in that state longer than any other party.
Yes.
But see where the state is. So they have no justification for him coming up at all. APC took over from PDP. 8 years, it has been down the hill.
Wow. No any progress.
Go to Kogi and tell me the presence of governance. Tell me one thing that they have done.
You mean one?
Just mention one thing. I mean,
I saw some hospitals.
Which hospitals?
And then there was even commissioning at the, the reference center, they call it. Yeah, the flyover and all that.
The commission flyover of 500 meters. Fly it away. Anyway, people, the human beings that are there are not being paid salaries. Don't even mention of the pensioners.
But what is their population when you compare that with the reference hospital built by Yahaya Bello?
Who is attending it?
Okay.
Who's attending it? Is it functional? Are you sending people from all over the country to go to that place?
Is it that he didn't put the equipment?
Anyway, please, I really don't want to talk about whatever they have done.
Okay, fine.
But
okay, let's focus on you then.
Exactly. The people know that the past 8 years and the past 32 years have been a calamitous journey. The past 32, Kogi was created 32 years ago. There's no evidence. There's nothing to show that they have made
and it is called confluence.
No, all those they are all potentials. But if you don't have it, you can't give it. I know how to turn that confluence into a money spinner.
How?
It's tourism. How many confluences are there in the world? There are less than 3. We have 1.
Oh.
Yeah, how many confluences do you think are you a geography student? Go and Google it. It's not more than 3 or 4. That's where 2 rivers or 2 oceans join.
Big ones.
They don't exist. So that one is an attraction by itself. And if you look at the topography of Kogi State, of Lokoja, for example, the Mount Patti that's very high into the sky, you do a cable car from there to the confluence. Tourism is one of my major landmarks.
Is it your area of interest, or you studied it all?
No, I didn't study, but I'm an economist. I'm a financial economist.
Okay.
With the 10th bias towards new development.
Okay.
So I know exactly how to turn those things now. And I already have people, people that have interest in those investments.
Oh, you have started harvesting?
Of course. No, I've already, they're contacting me already. And I've already,
but Kogi is highly indebted. Will they be willing to come and invest in it?
No. Indebtedness is different from me. Indebtedness by government is sovereign. Okay. So if you lend to government, you'll be paid. But these are investors that are coming. They're coming on their own. They come, we give them the license to operate, and they bring business there. And through the business operation, we'll be able to generate income. And maybe we'll begin to pay down the debt. So the debt that are owed by the government does not concern individuals. Yeah, they don't.
All right. Now,
to
what's the number of resources?
To finish that question, so if you mention each one of them, none of them has the experience. None of them has the work experience. None of them has established a business like I have done. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I sit on 3-4 companies right now. Wow. I've been a board member all my life. I've worked here and abroad. That experience, you can't buy it. So, and you cannot give what you don't have. These guys have not managed anything. So they cannot even, to dare to think of managing Kogi State is an insult to us. Ajaka, for example, it's an APC person. It's an APC person. So it's the same thing. APC cannot rule us again. Whatever way they do. Kogi State are smarter now, and they know who can serve them better.
Viewers, this is Daily Politics, and I'm your host, Hamza Idris. I have in the studio Mukhtar Suleiman, who we are going to have discussion. Today's show is dedicated to all the service personnel across Nigeria who put themselves in the line of fire and even pay the ultimate price, so the rest of us will know peace. And as I said earlier, I have Mukhtar Suleiman in the studio. Yes, Nigeria is a mourning mood. I don't know how to start, Mukhtar.
It's really sad and pathetic, really, because I recall when I got when I saw that news, it sounded as something that was a bit surreal. Yeah. But then when I was speaking to my friends that lives in Niger States, they were telling me that there was some altercation between some unknown gunmen.
Yeah, terrorists. We call them terrorists. Yes.
Now, yeah, between them and the military, and then the military got a call from Abuja for backup, and then they needed evacuation as well. So the plane was also going down there to pick up those soldiers who were caught in a sort of like a standoffish situation with these people. And then there's the rumor that the plane was shot down by the terrorists. And,
which was an allegation?
Which is still being investigated, if that was even possible. And then all of it just, whatever it is that ensued in that place, it's something that we're hoping that the new Minister of Defense and the Minister of State himself for Defense would ensure that it never happens again. Because while some of us may have some reservation about the appointment of these people into that office, the appointment has already been made for whether we voted or not voted for the president, we've already entrusted the country to him as it stands, unless the court reverses that decision.
And you know, many Nigerians for a very long time, they have been saying it's not about being military personnel or not being military personnel to be Minister of Defense, because we've tried it, not once, not twice, that we have ministers of defense as military personnel, but what did we get as a result?
Well, the problem is we've played, why we are where we are today is because we've played a lot of politics with security.
Yes.
And that needs to change. Beyond the scope of whosoever the minister is, the politicking around that particular sector needs to actually reduce. I have an opinion that I don't think, say for a few ministries, which one of them is Ministry of Defense, of course, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Budget and Planning, the Minister of Justice. Say for those few ministries, all you have to be is a good administrator to actually lead any ministry.
You can pretend over.
But the Ministry of Defense is such a very sensitive place that we need to take a few steps back and look at the entire thing we've done since 2009, 2010, when at the heat of Boko Haram, and look at how everything has actually retrogressed through the years, and how can we do a complete overhaul. Where is the problem? I've always said this. Good policies, good politics. So even if the policies, for example, are okay, is there a problem with the politics angle of it?
Exactly.
So do we need to revisit those sectors? So these are very, very important.
Well, sir, you know, on the day of the incident, our reporter in Mina, Abubakar Akote, he called me and said that there was an incident. Some soldiers had been killed, and even an aircraft was brought down. I was devastated. He too was devastated, and we swung into action to see whether we'll, you know, put one and one to maybe we'll get two and all that. It was really tough for us. We managed to have this story, and it took like 4 or 5 days, you know. Then there was a briefing by the military to now say yes, the helicopter or the fighter jet that crashed, you know, evacuated some injured and some dead bodies. Now, when it crashed, even the pilot and Katanamba, you know, they all lost their lives. We'll be missing our gallant soldiers in Nigeria.
You know, for the longest time, since this insecurity have actually bedeviled the country, we've not really given the military adequate coverage that it deserves. Because sad as it may sound, this is one of many things that actually happened to our gallant soldiers on the forefront of these particular insecurity issues. So if the media and if the military itself can allow for such coverage, there will be a lot of sympathies from the public, from the general public, and then there will be further understanding of these issues and how it has actually been happening over the years.
Yeah, you see, I reported the military very well.
Yes, I'm aware.
During my days in Maiduguri, at the height of the Boko Haram, where we normally have problems with secrecy.
Exactly.
Of information from the relevant quarters. You find it very difficult to get
information.
Yes, and you see, it's really bad. It's terrible to report deaths, you know. But what do you do? If locals call and say that this has happened, what do? You have no this thing. You have to, of course, our ethics demands that you hear from authorities.
Of course.
But sometimes they don't really comfort with what's happening. And anyway, they too, sometimes they say they need to get in contact with the families of the deceased so that they will not just read the death of their loved ones in the media. But going by the revolution in the media environment, you know, everything, you know, flies before you know. So we in the legacy media are really finding it very tough to report. Of course, we have to report. But it's very sad for a wife or a mother or father or even brother to read, hear or see the death of his loved one in the media.
You know, back in the day, joining the military was such a thing of pride. People vie for it. People want, wearing that uniform came with this sort of reverence. But these days, people are...
The morale was high.
Yeah, people are now scared of it even now. Nobody wants to. No, it's no longer envious anymore. People now empathize with you if you're in the military, as opposed to being proud of you if you're in the military. So unlike before, where the sight of the uniform gives this level of there's this aura that comes with it. It's no longer the situation now, because when you look at the person, you feel like, this one will soon go die.
Yes.
Or something. And it is the part where the soldiers themselves, or we ourselves, we don't see it as if Nigeria as a country does anything for us individually.
Okay,
So
to warrant sacrificing our lives.
That ultimate sacrifice. So it looks like Nigeria just wants to keep, it's a gift that keeps taking, but never wants to give. So it's very difficult to elicit patriotism at this point. So patriotism is more or less like a song you cannot sing.
And the little
anymore.
or the few who now agree to give their life for some of us, when they die, that will be the beginning or the continuation of the suffering of their
Especially of the families.
Yeah.
Because then pension becomes a problem, paying them their gratuity, paying the family their gratuity or their severance packages becomes a problem as well. These people worked, and then unfortunately, a select politician embezzles this money, and then they go scot-free by some godforsaken plea deal or plea agreement that they actually come up with. It's really pathetic, really. And I really think, like I said, I don't envy the president. I don't envy the people who have been appointed into public office right now, because as it stands right now, there's a lot of work to be done across the different sectors of the economy, of the country, of the polity, and hi, inshallah.
Do you know that we did a library work some months back here, at the Daily Trust, to say, okay, soldiers that have been killed. This is just based on, reportage, because you can't get
the actual number.
Yeah, but our librarian, Haruna, he was meticulous. He
Content
kept it
analysis.
exactly. So we had the figure. It was frightening, and we collected it from the library. We worked on it. We spoke to experts and all that. At the end of the day, when our, superiors read this story, we were asked to drop this story in the interim. I say in the interim because a very good story, but of course we wanted to pass a message, and everyone agrees that we should pass message. But if that, assuming we use this story, it will affect quite a number of
the morale of the soldiers. The
yes,
trust
but
of
you're
the
talking
public
about
on the
morale, and
military.
you are talking about being open and being fair, because there are some, if not of recent, of course, with all sense of modesty, the military, they are trying now trying to quickly
pass
the information to the families. Before, I'm telling you, it will take months for a wife to know that her
husband is dead.
Yes. I have a friend, a reporter, in fact, in Maiduguri, who was Timothy. I just have to say it. He reports for the Sun newspaper. His brother was killed, and for a very long time they were not aware. And you know how they got to know it? When, I think, I may be wrong because I can't recollect the exact.
Precisely.
Yeah, but it was through a video, I think released by the terrorists or something like that. So you can imagine the level of devastation that, I know because I was with him then, the whole family.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad. And we're hoping that, honestly, we really hope that things actually change and things get better as we move on. The likes of Badaru pride himself in saying that he did so well. There was no case of insecurity in Jigawa, although that's open for a lot of debates.
Yeah.
But we want to track the history of how that happened from the time of Sule Lamido. But let's not go into that rabbit hole. Let's not go into that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'm still awestruck by Matawale being there as Minister of Defense, owing to what ensued inside of Zamfara State, which Zamfara was an open secret.
Yes.
The entirety of everything that happened.
And honestly, we'll allow Nigerians to talk today.
Of course we would.
Yeah, of course. Because today is Friday, and as you know, it is your day. So call the numbers that will be displayed on your screen to share your thoughts on the deaths of our heroes, other Nigerians that are being killed by non-state actors, and how we will all coalesce into a big force to save Nigeria for all of us. Also, endeavor to keep your responses short so others can contribute and avoid using foul language. Let's start the conversation. The phone line is open. Over to you. Yes, Mukhtar. So beyond this, life must continue, right?
Yeah.
Soldiers will die, individuals, as I said, even communities, we try here to keep tab because we have reporters in every state in Nigeria. Now we have more than one in many places because of our TV platform and other platforms. So we have our hands on ground, reporting what is happening. And we keep record because we have our library, not because we want to keep piling up deaths, and all that, but to hold leaders to account. Yeah, but welfare of soldiers is also a very big problem. You see, in the barracks or even in police barracks or wherever, our services, when someone is dead, before 1 or 2 weeks, you see some people eyeing the house or the room the family of the deceased occupies. We have our first caller, yeah. Yusuf from Lugbe, welcome to the program, Yusuf.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to speak.
All right, go ahead,
My
Yusuf.
name is Yusuf. I'm coming from Lugbe in Airport Road.
All right.
The death of our servicemen, sincerely, it is very, very touching, very, very devastating, very, very unfortunate.
Abdurrahman from Katsina spoke on recruitment. The recruitment process is very faulty. Quite a number of Nigerians who want to join the military, they don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, but that's at senior officer level most of the time when you look at it. At the recruitment, at the corporate level now, low-level recruitment, it's a bit of an open street at this point because there are less and less people actually applying to join the military at this point. So we're hoping that things can change eventually.
All right. Thank you very much, Mukhtar Suleiman, for coming to the program and for your informed perspective. And our condolences to the families.
One more thing before we go. There was a point I wanted to make earlier when I said if Nigeria, I'll be very fast.
Yes.
When I said if Nigeria wants to find you, it can get you. If you remember some years ago, after the Evans was captured, the kidnapper, when there was a altercation between the Nigerian police and the military, where they said some soldiers attacked them and freed Evans.
Yes.
It took the Nigerian police less than a week to find all of those people involved in that case and arrest Evans again.
So let's all be responsible.
If Nigeria wants to catch you, it can.
Thank you very much. This is actually a big soundbite, yeah. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. We sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics Live, airing every weekday, and also our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. News Hour is up next at top of the hour. We once again extend our condolences to Nigerians, families of the deceased, and to those who wanted to make comment on this program but were unable to due to time constraint. Once again, we thank you for watching. Bye-bye. I'm Hamza Idris.